what mercy is. And grace is getting something that you don't deserve. Mercy is not getting something that you do deserve. Grace is getting something that you don't deserve. You see? And that's what he's given us. But see, we have to look at all these aspects of how we have to be like the Most High, be like Mashiach Yahushua, and give each other mercy and grace also, because we can be cold-blooded. We can really be cold. And you're going to see that that's contrary to the Most High and the Mashiach Yahushua, because he gave his life for us, you know. He gave his life. And no greater love than a man to give his life for his friend. Look at John 10 and 34. Mashiach Yahushua said unto them, Mashiach Yahushua answered them, is it not written in your law, I said, ye are gods? If he called them gods, unto whom the word of the Most High came, and we just proved who the word of the Most High came to Jacob and to Israel, and the scripture cannot be broken. Say you of him whom the Father has sanctified and sent into the world, thou blasphemous, because I said I am the Son of the Most High? If I do not the works of my Father, believe me not. So he's not saying that he's doing anything of his own. But if I do the works of my Father, though ye believe not me, believe the works, that ye may know and believe, have faith, that the Father is in me and I in him. Therefore they sought again to take him, but he escaped out of their hands. They wanted to kill him. See? And he did more miracles than could be put in all the books of the world. You know, can you imagine that he was doing all these miracles? You know, everybody was coming to see him, trying to get him. That's why he couldn't rest. Couldn't find nowhere to rest, he said. Look at St. John 12. And (32). It says, and if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. And he was lifted up from the earth. When you look at Acts 1 and 9, he said, he's speaking to them concerning the death that he would have. He said, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto himself. Not unto no man. Men setting themselves up like people will be drawn to them. We're Mashiach. He said, I will draw all men unto me. It didn't say unto no man, did it? He said everybody will be drawn to him, that he can show us of the Father. Acts 1 and 9, he was lifted up and said, and when he had spoken these things, so Mashiach Yahushua spoke these things, while they beheld, he was taken up. And a cloud received him out of their sight. Go back to St. John 12. That happened. Right there. So it says, and if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. This, he said, signified what death he should die. The people answered him, we have heard out of the law. Where's the law at? In the Old Testament. We have heard out of the law that Mashiach abideth forever. And how sayest thou, the Son of Man must be lifted up? who is this Son of Man? Who is this you're talking about? How is it that you say you're going to be lifted up when we hearing that this, the Mashiach abideth forever? Then Mashiach said unto them, yet a little while is the light with you. Speaking of himself. Walk while ye have light, lest darkness come upon you, ignorance come upon you. Because darkness means ignorance, not knowing. Lest darkness come upon you, for he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whither he goeth. It's like our people, they out there walking in darkness. Majority of our people walking in darkness. Because this world is in darkness. That's why he said, you had the light while he was there, he was bringing the light where everybody could see. He was that comforter. Because he could bring it to whoever. But when he left, he had to send another one. The Spirit of truth. The Spirit of the Most High. When you said he's in the Father's in him. So the Spirit of the Most High, the Holy Spirit, gonna testify of a Mashiach Yahushua who testifies of the Most High. So you gotta deal with all of them. If you don't know the Most High, you don't have the Holy Spirit. Because what is this Holy Spirit? The Spirit of who? The Most High. You see what I'm saying? The Mashiach Yahushua just said, hey, the works I'm doing is not mine, it's the Most High's. What I'm saying is not my words, he's the word of the Most High. The voice of the Most High. That's what I was dealing with last night. He's the voice of the Most High. The Most High speaks, Mashiach Yahushua hears him, and he brings him forth to the Spirit that comes to us. That's the only thing that was promised to us, is the Holy Spirit. And there's so many aspects of the Holy Spirit, it's not just one aspect, there's many aspects of the Holy Spirit. Remember, the Holy Spirit is bringing everything back to our remembrance. So the more you remember, the more you come into the knowledge and understanding of this Bible. Through the precepts. Through the precepts, get understanding. Right? And the precept will keep you from what? Evil. It'll keep you from evil. At least you'll recognize it to be able to say, okay, well, that's why I keep saying you got to change because we've been programmed. And it's hard to put new wine in old bottles, it says. That's why someone that's older, that's be able to get this and really change and become a new creature, be born again, he calling young people, 20 years old up and up. Because they ain't been so filtered with this madness of this world. And they not stubborn when they can't really be taught. You're already coming out of school. You know what I mean? 20 years old, that's when the army started. And 30 years old, the ministry, that's why you asked last night about he was 30. Yeah, that's when the ministry started. That's in Numbers, the 4th chapter.
Yeah, I didn't know.
That's in Numbers, the 4th chapter. You have to be 30 years old before you even can deal with the ministry. 30 to 50. Yeah, 30, it's in Numbers, the 4th chapter. You know?
Numbers.
Say what? That's the law. Before you really, you know, gonna sit and be in front of the congregation and so forth, that's what they had to be, 30 years old. Let's go there right quick. It says it over and over again. Because the Levites were the ones that administrated the law. So when you go to Numbers, the 4th chapter, just wait, I'm gonna show you. And you see, it's going to say it over. I'm just going to try and find verse 3. It says, from 30 years old and upward, even until 50 years old, all that enter into the host to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. See? It says it again. If you look through the chapter, I don't know how the verses are marked. It's going to tell you again, verse 23. From 30 years old and upward until 50 years old shall thou number them, all that enter in to perform the service, to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. That's why you had to be 30 years old. That's the law. Verse 30. From 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, shall thou number them, every one that entereth into the service, to do the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. Verse 35. And he's going through these families of men that's doing the ministry of the Most High, and the work of the Most High, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, everyone that entereth into the service for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. Most High speak once, yea, twice, man perceive it not. Verse 43, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, everyone that entereth into the service for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. That's the law. Verse 47, from 40 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, everyone that came to do the service of the ministry and the service of the burden in the tabernacle of the congregation. There it is.
What's the definition of ministry? Like what you're doing right now?
Yes, ministry, yes. Yeah. Bringing forth, teaching the people the law, statutes, commandments of the truth, and dealing with, teaching our people. It's very important. Going back to John the 12th chapter, verse 35. Then the Mashiach said unto them, yet a little while is the light with you. See, it's that light when you go to St. John, the first chapter. And verse 4. In him was life. In the Mashiach Yahushua was life. And the light was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness. Because what world was he in when he came on this earth in the flesh? Whose world was it?
See?
It's always Satan's world. But I'm saying, but who, as far as the counterpart of Satan in the flesh? Because remember, Satan said, all you got to do is just bow down and worship me, and all these kingdoms should be thine. But it was the kingdom that he was in when he came on the earth. And these are the things that our people don't be conscious of, to know that when he came on the flesh, who was the superpower of the earth at that time? The Romans. They're the ones that crucified him. These so-called Italian Caucasians. It says, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. So those that are in ignorance, they're not going to comprehend the light. When you turn off the lights, you can't see. It's you in darkness. I mean, you got to talk to us, since we require a sign, with tangible things that we can relate to. If it's dark, it's dark outside, you got to turn on the light to see, right? Or you might stumble over something without the light. It says the same, see, verse 6, excuse me, Salaki. There was a man sent from the Most High, whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, who was the Mashiach Yahushua, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. And what world is that? The world of Israel. When you read Isaiah 45 and 17. Because we only had the law and the prophets to go by. So they speaking of the understanding of what they knew. We have to start from scratch. That's why we got to be born again. Reborn, like you said last night. You know what I mean? We got to be reborn. In the spirit, in knowing what we already knew, they knew. So some things, they're not explained in the New Testament because they had studied from coming out of the womb until 30 years old, and they bringing forth the ministry. You see, that's a long time to be studying and really learning what it is that we should be knowing. You know what I mean? The truth. We know in part and prophesy in part now, but they knew. Here it is, Isaiah 45. That's why they said in the world. What world is he talking about? Isaiah 45:17. But Israel shall be saved in the Most High with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed, nor confounded, meaning confused, world without end. So that's the world that they're talking about, the world of Israel. Because he wasn't concerned about no other race or no other entities except for Israel. Because it says in Hebrews 7:14, for it is evidence of fact that our power of Mashiach Yahushua sprang out of Judah. That's Jacob's fourth-born son. Yeah.
All right, so you got to be
What do you mean far as at what time? He said like you're not supposed to be dealing with what we're dealing with the congregation. You mean far as what? On the 30th, or what you saying? What are you asking? I mean, you asking the question. I mean, we gotta be able to reach our people. You know, you can tell our people about the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as like what he said in the law, as far as the tabernacle, you know, was coming together and congregation, you should be 30 years old. You know, in that aspect. But as far as going out there reaching our people and say, look, man, there's many ways. You know, we can talk about it, but there's many ways that you can reach our people. We have flyers that have enough information on it that somebody get it and they go through it, they'll know the truth. Pretty much, that they're Israelite. You know, they'll know about the Mashiach Yahushua because it's all about him. They'll know somewhat about the Most High because we know, you know, Most High ways and thoughts are not our ways and thoughts. But you gotta know. You have to know. It's like the Most High, Mashiach Yahushua, the Spirit, the man, woman, and child. You gotta know these things. Most people don't know enough of the Father because the religions teach us about who? Jesus. Right? Man, you hear about him. So most people don't know about the Most High. Because they don't know that his name is jealous. They don't know the fact that he said, I'll burn you up. I'll melt you. And then those that do know, they're afraid of him, so they don't want you to know about that because they got to keep you feeling good. With this prosperity preaching and, you know, and you know they had a mindset of, oh, you know, nothing's going to happen to me when the Most High will jack your butt up. But Jesus is going to protect you from the Most High. And from Satan. They don't have, they'll get Satan over. He be like, y'all blame me for everything. And the Most High is the one that's telling me to do this. Yeah. He create evil. The Most High. We in Isaiah, go to Isaiah 45:7, I believe it is. Look. People don't know him like this. You tell a person that go to church this. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Most High, do all these things. See? They don't believe that. They don't know nothing about that.
Plain and simple.
It's plain and simple, right? I mean, it's right there. Without a shadow of a doubt. So that's what we got to look at, man. Look at Psalms, the 19th chapter. Psalms, the 19th chapter. And start at verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament show his handiwork. That's the sky. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech, nor language, where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoices as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. And there is nothing hid from the heart thereof, from the heat thereof, from the heat thereof. The law of the Most High is perfect. See? The law of the Most High is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Most High is sure, making wise the simple. And the simple will be those that are not in the light, because they're being darkness, which means ignorance and not knowing. The statutes of the Most High are right. So why do they say we don't have to follow them? You're not under it. It's perfect, it says. So the statutes of the Most High are right. Rejoice in the heart. Rejoice in the heart. You're supposed to feel good about it. Knowing what's right and doing what's right, it should make you feel good. Because you're doing what's right. In the eyes of the Most High. The commandment of the Most High is pure, enlightening the eyes.